Well, hello. Um, I don't know. You can see me. I don't know if you can hear me, but this is a phone that I've dropped probably over 1,000 times. And I'll smash the glass, and so getting a picture, then that's amazing. But what I wanted to talk about was angels that have came into my life. I'm 52 years old now, I do believe. I was born in 1966. And now that's worse. That trying to get it so it's well, it's all started really with my Aunt Rose. Now, my Aunt Rose, my mum is 90 years old. My Aunt Rose has been dead for, I don't know, 20 years or so. My Aunt Rose was the oldest of the family of about 13. A Catholic family that emigrated from Ireland. My nan and my nan and grandpa, and they were two I didn't meet. They died well before I was born. I was born in '66, and my nan died in 1952. Because my mum was the second youngest of the family and had me late in life. So most of my aunties and uncles uh, uh, were dead, or I only can remember from when I was little. But my Aunt Rose used to come and stay at our house. Now she had a hard life, and she spent her life looking after her two husbands. The first one's Stan, who I never knew. He joined the Air Force. This was around wartime. He'd been in the Air Force 6 weeks, and he got run over by a tram in Blackpool. And it didn't kill him, but he needed looking after, and my Aunt Rose did that. She devoted her life to him. And then my Uncle Bill, she met later on in her life, and I can remember him. And he basically went senile. And she had to look after him. He was in nappies. You know, it was very difficult for her. She slept in a camp bed by the side of the bed he was in, and she had the cord. She was in like this old people's home, so she could pull it to say if she needed an emergency. She could pull the cord and it would connect to the warden. Well, this one night, she's telling me this, and my Aunt Rose would never talk about anything supernatural. It scared her. In fact, the whole family were the same. Very superstitious. Typical Irish, I guess. And she wouldn't talk about, anything supernatural. But she's telling me this story, and she doesn't realise she's telling me something amazing. Because she said the smell of roses woke her up. This is her words. The smell of roses woke me up. The smell of roses was so strong around me. I knew he was going. I shone the torch on him, and I watched him take his last breath. And then the smell of roses faded and went away. I can remember saying at the time, that was that was Uncle Bill. I mean, that was angels, Aunt Rose, taking Uncle Bill to heaven. And that story slipped to the back of my mind. And then years later, I'm working in a carpet factory. Where I came from in the West Midlands, there was just loads of carpet factories. And anyways, I'm on my way to work, and we just moved to this estate called Bircham Coppice, and it was a long way from the carpet factory, and I had to walk through some real dark alleyways where the street lighting wasn't, well, it was non-existent. So because I had to be at work for 5:45, so it was just pitch black. And when I hit these alleyways on the estate that we were living on, that were no street lighting in, I was just plunged into darkness. But I could smell roses, strong, as if a woman had just walked past with the most beautiful perfume. And I'd forgotten all about what happened to me Aunt Rose. And so I didn't put two and two together. I got to work, and I used to say because I used to work in at the end of the process of making carpets. I used to work at the end, where the women used to take out the mistakes the looms used to make, and take out the wrong colours and sew in the right colours, and it was called the finishing room. And I went in, and I used to say to all the women, I used to say, do you smell perfume when most of them used to drive to work anyway, and I used to tell them I'm smelling perfume. And they said to me, well, you must be, it must be due to a woman's walked past with perfume on. Well, it was dead quiet. I could have heard a pin drop. So that answer didn't fit. It wasn't a woman that had just walked past with perfume, because it was most mornings I would experience this as I walked into the darkness I would smell roses. And it wasn't until a few years later when I was reading a book about angels and signs of when angels are near you, and read one of the biggest signs is the smell of beautiful flowers, roses. That it sort of went, wow, I made the connection. And I thought back to my Aunt Rose, and when basically the angels had come for the soul of my Uncle Bill, and it was the smell of roses that woke my Aunt Rose up. And so I had those two experiences, and then I was in a hostel. Things weren't going too well for me at the time. But I was reading a book on the paranormal because that's what I've been into. It's what I've been reading about for the last 45 years, since I was a kid. And so I'm reading this book, and there's this thing about summoning up Archangel Michael, and it basically told me what I needed to summon up Archangel Michael, and Archangel Michael is represents fire, in the elements. He represents fire, and it said a red or white candle. Well, I had a red candle there, and so I lit the candle. I followed all the instructions, purification and all that the day before, and I lit the candle, and I sat in this chair, and I closed my eyes. I read what I had to say out, and then I closed my eyes, and I felt the room start to get warmer, and at first you think, am I imagining this? But then it got warmer and warmer and warmer, and then I knew I wasn't imagining it. It was it. And then I felt his presence, and his presence was so powerful and strong, and the enormity of him, but that was tempered with love as well. You kind of knew he wasn't to be messed about with, and I said what I had to say to him, but I kept my eyes closed. And I felt his presence there. You can tell when there's a 12-foot figure looking down on you. You don't have to open your eyes to know that. But I'm afraid to say I was too fearful because I could feel his power, immense power, and I was too fearful to open my eyes to look at him. And as soon as I thought that, he says that and disappeared. And I opened my eyes, and the candle flame was 3 feet high, as if it was being through the strongest sort of chimney. From being sort of a couple of inches, well, an inch, it was like 3 feet. And then all of a sudden it shut back down to its normal size. And I knew that was his way of showing me that he'd visited me. And it was just an amazing experience to feel his power. And since then, when things have happened in the astral realm, when darkness has come to me, I've called upon him, and he has came, and he just destroys negativity. And any person can call upon Archangel Michael. Any person at all can call upon Archangel Michael, and he will be there for you. And you can look at the other angels as well. I mean, the 4 main archangels, Uriel, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, and they've all got their and there's many more, but that's the 4 main ones that cover sort of north, south, east, west. They've all got a direction, an element: earth, air, fire, and water. And it is something that an occultist, John Dee, studied, and we got this magic called Enochian magic, which is the language of the angels. But that's for someone who's practiced magic, and Enochian magic is you know, for someone advanced, really. It's something that I haven't tried, but and the last one, you know, I mean, I've seen so many feathers when I've been feeling a bit blue. I've been walking along the street, a feather has blown in front of me, and that's another sign for angelic encounters, is seeing feathers. And I had one. I started talking about angels in a crystal shop, and I said, yeah. I said, I have a lot of, you know, I've had encounters with angels, and the woman in the crystal shop said, one just followed you in, and as I'd walked through the door, this feather had just rolled in after me, and just little things like that. And I'm saying this publicly for people to look out for. Anyway, I don't know whether this has worked because this phone is well knackered. So I'm going to press this now. It's probably going to go off. Or it's probably going to come on. I don't know. I don't know. But the screen seems all misty. So you're probably getting a misty. That's my finger there. Whee. Well, I need to press that. And yeah. God bless you all. Get a book on angels. Learn about the angelic realm.